Hello. So I grew up as a Christian around a lot of Christians, and I I left that tradition in my late teens, and I'm not really going to talk about why or what I saw wrong with that, because that's not the focus of my talk. Is not to disparage someone else's practice. Actually, it's about appreciating other people's practices and being clear about our own. Um, when I was a kid, I was taught a lot of good things through Christianity, like love your neighbor as yourself, love even your enemies, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And this practice of not retaliating, turn the other cheek, actually. When Jesus said turn the other cheek, he said, don't retaliate against those who harm you. If they strike one cheek, turn the other. If someone steals your coat, give them also your cloak. So I was very impressed by those teachings as a child, but I was also very disturbed by so many people that claimed to be Christians that didn't practice that. And so I was very judgmental about that for a long time and didn't really want much to do with religion. Um, but now, actually, as someone in their late 50s, I know some of the same Christians I knew as a kid. And I am very impressed with what they've done with their practice. And when I look at my own practice and the things I want to cultivate, I can see progress, but I can also see that you can be practicing even though you're not perfect. You don't have to be perfect in your practice to be working on it. And that's what I've seen with some of my Christian friends and relatives. I know some of them who have devoted their life to really trying to help people, um, starting free clinics, health clinics. I know some people who started two free health clinics, maybe three even, in the Detroit area, and um, and just developing kindness in their own hearts. Some of them, people who are sincerely practicing. And we see all around the world, we can see that there are people trying to do really good things. Um, there's Doctors Without Borders, um, Partners in Health, Homeboy Industries, to people that have of all different kinds of people with different belief systems that are working to help people, and to be kind and develop good things and really work towards trying to alleviate some of the suffering in this world. But when I say be clear about our own practice, I mean that we can see these things and recognize that they're not necessarily bodhicitta. And I say not necessarily because I don't know whether or not Paul Farmer was a bodhisattva. He might have been. And a bodhisattva would definitely engage in such actions. But wanting someone to be free of hunger, that's not bodhicitta. Working towards removing somebody's hunger, that's not necessarily bodhicitta. Working to remove people's suffering in this life or in the short term is not necessarily bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is about wanting someone to be free of suffering, all beings. And so wanting all beings to be free of suffering and its causes, that's also not bodhicitta. That's great compassion, but it's not even the great resolve. It's when we are determined to do that, to determined to do everything we can to remove the suffering of sentient beings. That is the great resolve, and that's not bodhicitta. It's not bodhicitta until we are determined that we will do everything we can to become a fully awakened Buddha, to remove the suffering of sentient beings. And the reason I mention this is because I've heard people say, oh, so-and-so must be a bodhisattva because they're doing this and that. And they very well may be. Like I said, Paul Farmer might have been a bodhisattva. Um, Father Gregory Boyle, he may be a bodhisattva. I don't know. Jesus may have been a bodhisattva. Some people believe so, but we need to be clear about what bodhicitta is. And part of the importance of that is that we spend a lot of time doing inner cultivation when we could be running around running soup kitchens. And that do not be mistaken about the importance of that inner cultivation. And like I said, I was judgmental about the practice of people I knew when I was a kid that were Christians that I didn't think were practicing what was in the teachings. And actually I've held that kind of judgmentalness for a long time. And even people who I saw that I was very upset with about that, I have seen them really turn their practice through going into their own. They've cultivated more tolerance and kindness in their own hearts by going deep into their practice. And we can also be patient with ourselves about that. We're all working on our minds, and we can be patient with the people around us because we are, well, for myself, I've got way more work to do than the work I've done. But it doesn't mean the work that I've done is unimportant or that it's not happening. And we look at other people around us and we can't see what their practice is, what they have to start with, what they're working on, and how much effort they're making. And for ourselves, yes, we can be very encouraged and rejoice in what we do rather than when we fail. So I'm really glad to see that more and more there seems to be inner faith groups throughout the world, and a lot in our area, and to see people appreciating other people's practices. And I think with a lot of faiths, the people are learning to appreciate others' practice and still being clear about their own. We had people come up yesterday to look at the roof ornaments, and people putting up the roof ornaments that, they hold different beliefs. It wasn't just a bunch of Buddhists standing out there, and yet people were rejoicing. And so really I try to be mindful of having a gentle and benevolent outlook towards myself and others with our practice, and we do the best we can, and that only gets better, hopefully. Thank you.